What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today, MSTR. The purpose of this video is to discuss where I think the price will be by the end of this week, by the end of this month, and then also where I think it's going to be by the end of this move, which I assume to end in February, if not sometime in the middle of March. By the end of this move, I don't mean the end of the cycle. No, the end of the cycle, I think, for MicroStrategy will be like July, August, or later this year, right? Like it really could be later than that even. So no, not the end of the move, or not the end of the cycle, but just the end of the move. If that sounds good to you guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are looking at MSTR. Had the day down. We opened up at $309, looking like it was gonna be tumultuous. And then we recovered. We actually had a green day closing at $328.40, 0.15% to the upside. Crazy day, crazy volatile. Not a lot of volume. We still haven't seen volume really come back into MicroStrategy. That average volume, this histogram probably has gotten a nice raise too, though, because of all this like exceptional volume back here. You know, in retrospect, if we put a line right here, kind of encompassing a line of best fit, something that gets all of these levels of volume essentially. This is actually above the average volume that we saw throughout this whole consolidation phase here. It's that doesn't do it too good. I can't move it back. You can't see, damn. Maybe if I do it like this. If I do it like this, you can see that even at like the lowest points of volume here, we still have, even at the lowest points of volume here, those are higher than the average levels of volume that we saw here on a large amount of time. So I'm not too worried about the volume. It'd be nice if we had more volume come in, is all I'm trying to say by that. If we look at the low here to the relative high, what you did, guys, and I'm very confident this move, what we did yesterday, I wasn't so certain, especially with how we were for most of the day. I wasn't so certain if that was the low, and I thought we would go lower. But yesterday's close, how we closed the day, solidified it to me that not only is this the low relative to this move, but it's a higher low relative to this move. We are breaking out. We are getting ready to move higher, right? We're not breaking out yet, but we are. That this higher low means that we have the intention to do so in a very short amount of time. At least I think so, as long as it holds. And what we're doing, I think that is so cool here. You look at the 1 hour time frame. Anytime you just basically tear right through to your 786 and you find support there, you tend to have a very strong move that takes place afterwards, right? From a low to a high, you tipped your 786. You tipped it perfectly, right? It would have been a better move if you just went straight down there, if you didn't stop at the 618 first. But you did. What are you going to do about it? Whatever. Here you are above the golden ratio, right? Immaculate kind of recovery from there. If we can get MicroStrategy back above 357, you guys, when MicroStrategy is above 357, its next stop is likely not going to be until like 420 or more, right? Essentially, 357 is the line to watch. I think that when we get above there, it's going to be a good time. I think that it's already going to be a good time. I think that we're on our way up there now. And I think a couple of you have been asking, have I bought call options for MicroStrategy or not? I tried to buy some today. I actually tried to buy some throughout this little range that we were in right here, and my money just hasn't gotten cleared. It hasn't gone through. I've got cash in the account. I've got it's through Robinhood. You know, I don't know what the issue is. Normally it is pretty quickly. It normally happens within the first 3 days, but it's been like 4 days now, and I haven't got my money cleared. So I don't know what's going on. Hopefully tomorrow it'll get cleared. I do want to get some call options open. I want to be buying into some call options here that expire probably late February, if not somewhere an expiry that has a lot of volume. I want to be able to get in and get out easy, right? If I have an expiry in May and I want to sell my options, I want to take profits on them in February, people might not be buying them in February. So I want to keep that in mind too, right? The options game is a little bit fickle. There's a lot of pros to the options. There's also a lot of cons to it. You got to be aware. There's a lot of like little tricks. I'm definitely not the most well versed in options trading. But I'm learning every single day, right? I've been doing technical analysis for 8 years, but still learning every single day, man. Back to the charts. Not enough about me. Back to the charts here. If we look at this, if we look at it for what it is, it almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders, right? Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders. You've got your left shoulder there, you've got your right shoulder here. But if it was an inverse head and shoulders, it's wrong because you've got your right shoulder lower than your left shoulder, and that would be okay as long as your right shoulder was also lower than the highs on the left shoulder. But you've got the highs higher, you got your lows lower. It's not really a head and shoulders, an inverse head and shoulders pattern, but it does suggest bouncing here at previous areas of support, at relative areas of resistance even. Bouncing here does suggest that not only is it a higher low, but that this could be the continuation, the beginning of something that that ultimately breaks us out of this kind of consolidation range we've been in and takes us to that next step up, right? So now let's talk about where I think we're going to be by the end of this week, right? Assuming that that's the low, assuming that we don't go lower, and I do assume that I think that Bitcoin will probably continue to grow from here as well. We'll probably make a move all the way up to about $360, if not more, by the end of the week. Now, max pain, if we're looking at this, by the way, speaking of max pain, I probably should have given you guys a warning for your retinas. I should have told you to put on the blue light filter, put on some sunglasses or something, but damn. Max pain is at 230. At least that's what optioncharts.io is saying for MicroStrategy here. Max pain, for those of you who are unaware, max pain is just like, it's basically exactly what it implies, is that calls and puts on both sides, you'd have the maximum potential for liquidations on both sides at this price, right? And then next week, here's where things get exciting, right? I've been watching this weekly. Personally, I've been watching this like weekly. I haven't really talked about it too much because I haven't really thought of it like when we were up above, when we were like at this price here, we were at like 380. When we were all the way up here and the max pain was below 300. I'm like, man, I didn't think that we were going to get there. But now that it's so close, I think that it is worth talking about a little bit. But still, I don't think that we're going to get to 230 personally. We're at 328 now. Max pain's at 230. If we were to keep dropping from here, likely what would happen is that max pain gets raised because you'd have more puts coming in, which would imply that the max pain, to hurt more puts, to hurt more short sellers, you'd have to increase your price, right? So if the price were to go down, we probably have more short sellers, more puts opening up. That's how it happens. And that would increase the price of the max pain. So if it's at 230 and people are thinking, oh, max pain's at 230, we have to go there. No, likely by the time we even got to 230, I mean, probably even by the time we got to 275, the max pain price would be a whole lot higher. But it is possible. It's something we're talking about. We could go to 230. It's something, and maybe not 230 itself, but lower. It's something worth talking about. But next week, the reason why I'm getting so hung up on this is that next week is the first week that I've seen in a while where the max pain is actually above our current price. It's at 340. And that, right, remember, that week is Trump's inauguration. We also have a special meeting going on next week with MicroStrategy on the 21st. And you also have max pain at 350. So next week, it's at 340. But the following week, it's at 350, okay? Next week, it's at 340. The following week, it's at 350. So we're going to have max pain above our underlying price for the first time, at least in the past like month or so now. I think in February, yeah, max pain, it's still up. I'm curious to see where it'll be. It comes down. Max pain's under the underlying price right now on the 21st of February expiration. So maybe that could imply, and this is a rough, don't hang on this too tight, right? Because as time goes on, there will be more puts and more calls added to or taken away. This information is shifting all the time. But just based off of what we're seeing here, maybe we continue to move up through the 14th of February, and then somewhere between the 14th and the 21st, that's whenever we find a top for MicroStrategy on this next move, right? So assuming that, maybe, roughly, right, somewhere between here and here, let's just say somewhere in between this range here, we could find our next top. From this relative high to this relative low here, I would expect this next top for MicroStrategy is nothing shy of that's not what I meant to do, of $800 or more, right? High to low, 1618 golden extension, $808 at a minimum. That's where I'm expecting you'll be, right? So that kind of move in that kind of time, it would essentially look like this, right? And that might seem like a fast pace. I put it at the very end here instead of the very beginning. Let's put it at the very beginning. Let's make it as fast as it possibly could go for the minimum amount of growth that we could expect, right? With a nice straight line. Now, if we take this slope and we put it over here, it's a little bit faster than this move was overall. But if we take this line and we put it over here, it's actually a little bit slower than this move here. So when MicroStrategy is in full effect, whenever it is in a breakout move, we can see it move at this pace and faster. Look, here even it moved a little bit faster, right? So whenever it is in these, and I think that it will be in a breakout move here, breaking out to new all-time highs, breaking out of this consolidation phase it's been in since the end of November for a month and a half, 2 months probably. I think you will see a very explosive move coming out of this. So $808 at a minimum would be the expectation. The next level from there would be the 188.6 to 200 level, and that's $961 to $1,000. That is the personal target that I have by the end of February. That's my expectation. And I do totally consider 1200 to 1300 as a possibility as well in that same amount of time. Personally, I guess this would be your box if I had to give it to you, if I had to make it like nice and neat. That's the box. That's your time frames, right? This right here, I don't know, maybe I should just draw this one gold. That is likely where you're going to top off. I don't know. That's not my best art that I've ever done, right? Let's delete everything else and maybe that'll look a little bit better. Now it looks kind of like, I don't know, like an incomplete cartoon character. But I would assume that we are up in this golden zone here, somewhere in this time frame here, and then you could be outside to the up or outside to the down of this circle. It just depends, right? But by this time as well. So I would expect MicroStrategy is at least at $808 by the end of February, by the 21st of February even, if not above $1,000, if not even at $1,200 to $1,300 or more. And then by the end of this week, to end the video, I suppose, by the end of this week, I would assume we're at 328 now. I would assume MicroStrategy by the end of this week is above 360, if not above 380. I don't think that it'll be above 400 by the end of this week, but if it is, we make a really good case for being at 441 just to start next week, which would be crazy. There is one last thing I want to talk about, and I want to go to Grok here, because I don't know everything, man. I don't like to look things up. I don't like to bore you guys or bore myself. So when is MSTR next board meeting? I don't know. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but when is MSTR's next board meeting? Next board meeting is scheduled for January 21st, 2025. So on this day, MSTR on the 21st here, which let's go on the daily time frame. Right, Monday's closed, right? So next Monday, just be aware, Monday's closed. It's not going to be open. MicroStrategy, the whole stock market's closed because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. In case you guys didn't know that, very widely respected and loved, renowned holiday across the world. Last time I said that, somebody was like, it's not just a random holiday. I wasn't trying to call it a random holiday. I just meant like when a holiday randomly appears in the middle of the week. Sometimes it's in the weekend. It's just random, kind of, right? It's not random. You can plot it technically chronologically, but if you don't do that, it kind of is random to you. But anyways, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, this holiday which nobody would mistake for any other day in January at all. Nobody would do that ever. They'd have to be silly if they did that. It's going to happen on the 20th. So we won't have stocks open. The 21st is the next day, and that is when Michael Saylor and the boys, and maybe some girls too, I don't know who's all part of the board, talks about what they're going to do probably for the fiscal year of 2025, right? Let's just ask, what will the points of discussion be? He probably doesn't know, but let's just see. Maybe he does. Points of discussion at the next MSTR board meeting are likely share authorization increase. Well, yeah, we knew that, obviously, yeah. New funding mechanisms, Bitcoin holdings, of course, yes, financial strategy. Talking about ATM selling, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so just standard stuff, cool. So here's my thoughts. Here's what Grok's not going to tell us, right, is that we have the inauguration of Trump on the 20th. A widely expected, I'm going to take the charts away because I don't think we need to do this anymore, right? I think that the price for MicroStrategy will be at $1,000 to $1,200, at least $800 by the 21st of February. I'll probably be buying some call options tomorrow that expire on the 28th of February myself. The price by the end of this week, I think, will be at anything from 360 to 380, maybe a little bit higher. We could be above 400 this week. It is possible, but I'd be surprised if we were. Definitely 360 or higher is what I would expect by the end of this week. And then what I wanted to finish this video off with is that meeting. What's happening on the 21st, and I think why they're having it on the 21st, is this is after Trump's inauguration. First and foremost, is Trump going to get inaugurated, right? I think he is going to, but there's that whole saying going around. I don't know if it's on social media, but I feel like in certain circles that's if he gets inaugurated is what I hear people say. And he's getting inaugurated. He will, but you never know. He could die beforehand. Some crazy, weird, crazy stuff could happen where it doesn't happen. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. I would assume he gets inaugurated. I'm not trying to imply that he doesn't get inaugurated, but maybe he gets inaugurated and he doesn't fulfill all of his crypto promises. Maybe he doesn't do some of the executive orders that he's talked about putting into place on day one that would benefit crypto and benefit people in crypto. And if he doesn't do that, or if his first day, if it doesn't go well, if it's not geared toward crypto, or certain policies that he puts, if the what am I trying to, the path, if the path that he lays out, that he sets up on that first day, which I'm sure it's not going to be 100% clear, right? How could you talk about what you want to do in a whole 4-year span in just one day, like literally even in just one whole day? But I would assume that the MicroStrategy meeting they're having will be in response to that. If it's a bullish kind of event on Trump's inauguration day, and we have some executive orders that come into play that will directly benefit not just crypto, but just finances and the economy and the markets on a global scale, and in America specifically as well. If we see that on the first day, then I would expect MicroStrategy's board meeting, they're going to play off of some of the things I think that Trump is going to say on inauguration day. Does that make sense? So I'm going to end the video there. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. The last part I feel like I droned on, but all I'm trying to say is I think what they're doing, it's smart, because they're meeting the day after Trump's inauguration. So they're going to have at least some kind of a footprint to base their meeting off of, right? Something that I would assume Trump's going to have some big things to sign into effective immediately on the first day. So, and I would assume that they may or may not have something to do with crypto, or may or may not have something to do with financial regulations that MicroStrategy may or may not need to discuss the next day whenever they have the meeting. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm trying to draw that point. I'm trying to make a point with that, and I'm just not using the right words. But I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I understand what I'm trying to say. I also understand that I'm not saying it the best, but I guess that's it. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.